everybody. Good morning. Happy weekend to you. It is before the Saturday games on July 6th, 2019. We're being a little more quiet than normal because there's a baby sleeping upstairs. At any moment, there could be a rush of children coming down here, so let's just bide our time while we have it. Um, Baseball file's been going really well the last few days. We have picks for the day. I'm going to talk about today's picks in a minute. I'd like to go over what's been going on yesterday and looking at historical stuff because it's going to help us kind of talk about where this algorithm, which automatically is doing a lot of handicapping for us and allowing us to see a lot of information all at once and not making any mistakes, hopefully, to see which games really to focus on. Yesterday, it really worked out well. For example, I'm going to ungroup this and show you what yesterday looked like and then kind of talk about today and why it's interesting to look at this. So yesterday, I got this out and I mentioned Boston with a really, really high bet score here. And why the lopsided pitching matchup was a great thing. They did manage to win. They put up a good amount of runs, even though there's like a rain delay for hours. Philadelphia was an underdog, and I said Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Colorado, the three underdogs, you should make straight bet action on them because of their lines. Philadelphia did win against DeGrom. DeGrom's kind of overrated. I'm going to talk later in the week about the psychology of how the money line is created in nature, in the marketplace, and how somebody like DeGrom, a pitcher for the Mets, is not necessarily overrated, but can't win as much as he would even pitching a good game because the team is just terrible. So it distorts the lines, and that's why I said take Philadelphia. They managed to win. That's a great payout. St. Louis overperforms and wins. Dodgers, I guess, lost a close one. That's the closest team I'm to right now besides the Angels. And Atlanta wins a low one. Anyway, point is, looking at certain games and the lines that are offered helps you determine why this file is putting a pick up at a high level and what kind of action you should make on it. So overall, we group this back up, one thing I noticed profitability-wise was we're profitable in July right now. However, that's because the file is winning games further down on the list. It's not necessarily above bet score 3. A lot of things that are happening here, which we'll talk about today, where these underdogs are coming in. These games are winning and they're paying off. And I've been telling everybody to focus above bet score 3. I think that as we get more data into this file, overall last year when I ran this in 2018, the second half of the season, it was 11% ROI for the whole file. That's anything above bet score 0. That's what it's shooting for. I feel like as we get to the All-Star break and beyond, it's going to be more reliable further down the list because as you can see, if you just go above bet score 3, we're profitable overall, right? We're in better shape if you can't see with my head there. Just kind of want to show what that looks like. So above bet score 0 for the whole season, we are not profitable, right? We're down, which happens early in the year. However, we're profitable for July. We're a little under in June. June was actually a miserable month. If you look above bet score 3, we actually lost money in June somehow. It's just a miserable month. They're not all going to be like that. Something happened in adjusting month. Maybe, pitchers get some wins they don't normally get. Like Verlander lost last night. Some things kind of even themselves out. So, but here in July we're hitting a lot of wins, and the reason why is we're getting better stats in here. So let's go to today. Finally, 4 minutes into this. I know it's a long video, but I kind of want to talk about the psychology of how we then look at these games. So Boston has a really high bet score, abnormally high, 7.83. They're minus 200. Is the matchup the same in terms of lopsided strength as it was yesterday? Well, first of all, first thing to tell you is that the current lineups are not in for today yet. So there's going to be an update later in the day and things are going to change. Lineups do matter, but based on expected lineups, Jordan Zimmermann for Detroit is 0-5. And even though Rick Porcello also has a losing record, that's ugly stats for Zimmermann. Poor Detroit. Detroit is the laughingstock of the team. They're at 1% in the win algorithm percent. So yes, it is a huge lopsided game. And yes, you should probably take Boston minus 1.5. We'll see what the lineups are, but that does make sense. Atlanta's at minus 200 and has a 5.9. This I'd like to see why that's the case. Atlanta over Miami. Miami is a choppy team. Not good, but they do put up a run sometimes. Max Fried's a good pitcher. Miami's lineup's terrible. I'd wait till to see what the Miami lineup is any time bet in Atlanta, which, oh yeah, I want to show you something else. Another way how to look at this file. Let's ungroup this for a second. This is important because you should be using this when looking on which teams to focus on. So if we ungroup the dates here and then we go by team, okay, like I'm talking about Atlanta right now, you can click a slicer over here for team, and it's going to show us all the dates descending and how profitable they've been. Now, I was just about to bash Atlanta for not being reliable, and it turns out I got to eat my words because look at all this blue over here. This is why it's better to use the algorithm than your own brain to remember what the history of things are. So you've got profitability, wow, up to 5 units back a month ago. Over the last month, this team's profitable if you play every time the file says to play them, you play them, they're up 5 units. That's probably about 5 units in 19 games. That's like almost 20% ROI, I think, or 25% ROI, 20-25% ROI. That's fantastic. So they've been doing great. So maybe that's more reliable than I thought it was going to be. How about the Yankees? Yankees playing Tampa Bay. See, we can just go down the list and do all of this. This is some of the analysis I'm providing if you subscribe to the service and get these picks before the game every day, because I do get them out almost every day before the games. Sabathians, now that seems like a toss-up there. Why is this? Because the Yankees line is decent at plus 120. Wow, 7-3 score. The Yankees lineup has Judge back, and their lineup factor is grown. If you can't see that with my head there, the lineup factor for the Yankees has gone up, and this is why they're showing more strength. So if you see how kind of you see how the pitchers' records are similar in terms of wins wise. Yankees has some strength. If you're scared because Tampa Bay is a good team and switches around pitchers a lot, also, then you could consider taking like the Yankees team over. Is probably a more reliable pick than just a straight out win because Tampa's a good team, but whatever. You can see they're a dog, and this file like straight bets. The straight bet in that game is probably on the Yankees and not on Tampa Bay. Philadelphia is going to be the same situation. I'm not going to go through all the games because the video is going to get too long. Kids are going to wake up. But you can see that there's so much logic that it's contributing to our ability to handicap that's why it becomes valuable. And I would say, wow, once you take Baltimore plus 147, why? Who are they playing? They won yesterday, didn't they? Yeah, they're playing Toronto. See, Toronto's an awful team also. Look at that, 18-14. The fact that this is a 147 for Baltimore is ridiculous. You should absolutely take them. Take them on the reverse run line. If they have the game, you'll probably get them at plus 300 at minus 1.5. You can see that it wants them to win. Don't listen to me, by the way. I always listen to the algorithm. But I thought I would think of doing something like that, given how popular consensus is Baltimore's a miserable team. Well, Toronto is the miserable team of Canada. So consider that. All right, we're out for now because all our picks just continue to be winning. I think July is going to be a much better month than June was. It already is.